Hey, all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Caitlin Delaney. How you doing, Caitlin?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Of course, Caitlin, you're a producer. You are extremely busy. Your IMDb is very, very full. Uh, can you kind of explain to everybody at home what you've been doing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm what I describe as a service producer. So
Hmm.
what that means is that unlike an executive producer, most of my producing career has been producing for executive producers. So they come to me with the money
Yeah.
and the script. And then I take the money and the script and I do everything involved in the physical production. So finding the locations, doing talent deals, hiring people, insurance, post-production, all of the physical work
Yeah.
on the production is what I do. Yeah, and we've been like super busy over the last few years with lots of different kinds of projects. We kind of got started in Christmas
Hmm.
and kind of became like a hub. I don't know if you saw that SNL skit where um, they have the Hallmark movies that are
Oh, yeah.
shooting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're all shot in the same 2 weeks in Ottawa, and we're like, so fast. Yeah, and then we kind of branched out from there. So like after doing like the Christmas movies, which of course everybody loves, we
Right.
started getting bigger projects, like bigger with like bigger challenges and bigger cast and bigger
Hmm.
budgets. And yeah, now we've done, some studio features. We've done some independent features that have theatrical air dates. So it's been like
Yeah.
super exciting. Yeah.
It's been escalating quickly for you though, but it's been going pretty fast.
Yeah, the last 5 years have been a blur. It's been really crazy.
That's incredible. And all this experience that you're gaining, you're also sharing that with others. You have an online mentoring and training academy. Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So anybody who's interested in becoming a producer, production manager, scriptwriter, for
Hmm.
sure, or anybody who wants to head a department should really, it's our classic, we have 30 videos that will teach you everything you need to
Wow.
know about working in film from development, pre-production, production, post-production, sales, and distribution. After you watch those 30 videos, you're going to walk out with an intense knowledge. We're just gonna take years of on-set experience, crunch them down to those 30 videos, away you go. We also have a membership-based subscription model where every week there's multiple opportunities to get mentored
Yeah.
directly. So you can talk to people in the industry like me who have done 100 movies
Yeah.
um, and get that mentorship. But then we also have skill shares once a week where we're teaching you, like, here's how you budget, here's how you schedule, here's how you negotiate a union contract, here's how you negotiate a cast contract, here's how you get insurance. And then we do interviews with people from around the world in the film industry. And we also have pitching sessions where you can pitch your projects.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
invaluable. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, we just launched it in January. It's been great success. So
Yeah.
that's uplate.ca. And you just go access community, boom, you're in. It's free.
We're gonna have all the links in the description, guys. Make sure you follow it up while you're listening along with us. Let's bring things back to the beginning. What was that spark in you that brought you to the film industry in the first place?
Definitely high school. I was a theater kid for
Nice.
sure. And I signed on my high school yearbooks with See You in the Movies. Uh, and then when I graduated, I started a university. I thought I might be a teacher, but
Hmm.
ultimately, I left university and started working in the film industry. But that, which is, brings me back to Uplight Academy, which is an online, it's where I teach. So
Right.
kind of, like back then I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And now I'm doing both. So.
Right. Helping other people find what they want to do. Now,
Mhm.
when you started out in the film industry, were you thinking I want to be an actor, or were you right into the development side?
I was thinking I wanted to be an actor. And
Yeah.
then when I went to Toronto,
Hmm.
Canada. And it was the late 90s. And uh, back then, 25 years ago, it was still the 90s heroin chic thin.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I've always been, you know, curvy, like, you know, and I was just like too fat. And I did not want to go heroin chic.
Hmm.
And I was not comfortable enough in my body. So, So then I was like, well, I still want to be in movies.
Yeah, the
So
love's still there. Yeah.
I kind of like chickened out. But at the time, being a 20-year-old needing to be a size zero, I don't know how I would have fared if I would have
Yeah.
kind of pressure on myself. And now, 25 years later, I can honestly say on the movies that I work with, we have all different sizes.
Yes.
We're not having like people eat lunch, like people, I think the health of the body is so much better. So, you know, um, I often wonder like what would have happened,
Hmm.
but I'm not sorry with the way things went.
I mean, it sounds amazing the path you did go. So you're taking what could have been a mental health strain, and now you're empowering other people with their mental health and their journeys into the film
Yeah,
industry as well. I mean, the gift you're giving to others is far more valuable than the strain you would have put on yourself, I think, in my opinion.
I think so. I think being a 20-year-old and knowing myself, I don't think it was the right place for me. So I think I
Yeah,
made the right decision. And then behind the camera, it's been an incredible journey.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
Now,
yeah.
you have an array of genres you work in, which to me seems fascinating to be able to do that. How do you choose a project, and is there a particular genre that you seem to lean into?
Well, the honest answer is oftentimes it's decided by who comes with the money first.
I see. Yeah.
So, yeah, we do like multiple movies at the same time.
Yeah.
It also depends on what the appetite of the market is. Like when we started COVID, it was just Christmas, 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 and
Right.
now we're really noticing there's uh that the appetite is much more for thriller. My city of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, when we started independent movies, when I was first starting, we were horror. Like we were a horror city.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Um, so John Watts, who's the director of all the new Marvel Spider-Man movies,
Oh yeah.
he one of his first movies that he directed was in Ottawa,
Hmm.
and it was a horror movie, something that he wrote with his friends. Um, so yeah, it's kind of like where's the market at,
Hmm.
what's funding, who wants to shoot where.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it depends on a lot of different things. Right now, we're doing a lot of thriller.
That's cool. Yeah. Now, but
Yeah.
it's somebody who has so many people depending on you. How often do you get to lean in on a passion project or something you enjoy, or do you have to constantly worry about budgets and how well the marketing's going to go, things like that, the money side of things?
That's a really interesting question. So there is an intense pressure
Hmm.
because when you get to your city to where you're kind of like a machine,
Yeah.
and people like that's their only job, and they make plans with their family, they book daycare thinking that they're going to have a certain amount of movies. There is an intense pressure. And if
Yeah.
there's any kind of a slowdown, um, you know, that could maybe have nothing to do with you. It's just, the COVID happened, then the writer strikes
Yeah.
happened, and then there's nervousness around, um, you know, border. Um, but it is an intense pressure.
Yeah.
Uh, you feel responsible because you create this family of people that have committed to like making movies together, and then when they slow down, it's really hard. It's really hard to, or when everybody's used to like if we have three crews and we're running three movies and then we're just running one, like how do you make those decisions
Yeah.
of the people that work on it, you know? And that can be really hard as well because you love everybody and you want to see everybody do well, and then you only have one movie. So yeah, those kind of decisions are really not fun when you have to make them. In terms of passion projects, I do have passion projects. I
Hmm.
have a project that I have out for in development for funding around human trafficking of young girls from their own
Oh,
home. Yeah.
wow.
So being a service producer, you're always working on other people's content.
Hmm.
And I think passion projects are necessary because we all, a big driver for us to get in this industry is being creative.
Yeah.
So, my before I started in traditional film and media, I did social justice media. Um, and human trafficking was something I always wanted to do. And that was, 17 years ago. So now here we are where it's like, you know what, we'll find the time, we'll find the money, we'll we'll
Yeah.
we'll do that. So So yeah, it's balancing both.
Is there something always in the back of your mind where I'll be your service producer, but in the end, I need that favor. You want to be able to build this kind of network of people around you, so those passion projects are a little bit more doable.
Yeah, so the film industry is interesting because it's, so um, network dependent.
Hmm.
And it's really like it's more collaborative than it is competitive,
I see.
surprisingly for people. Like I work with I know a lot of different service producers from all over the country, from all over North America, actually.
Yeah.
And the thing will be like an executive producer will think, hey, I should go to Toronto.
Hmm.
And then a producer in Toronto would be like, well, actually, you'd be much more fitted to Ottawa for X, Y, Z. So
Hmm.
I'm going to introduce you to Caitlin Delaney. And then, so that's like kind of a connection that would happen. And then, like if he needed a favor, then yes, I would be like super
Right.
like down to like lean into those favors. Um, though it's always more beneficial when it's like reciprocal rather than transactional. Like, well, I'll do this movie for you if you make sure you do this for me.
Hmm.
It's a real like reciprocal, well, like, yeah, of course I'll do this movie for you. And then they're more inclined to help you out when you need them with a
Yeah.
favor.
Less formal though. It seems like it's more about a community that's working together. Yeah, collaborating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you started off, you're talking about doing these like the Hallmark movies and stuff we all love watching around the Christmas time, and then you evolved into this thrillers and more. Where do you see your future going in the terms of streaming? Because with Hallmark, it's a staple that they're all, oh, the 26 days of Christmas or whatever they're gonna, do this year. I'm getting excited for Christmas and we're so far away now. Um, with streaming, do you see that becoming a place that maybe you're gonna lean into going forward?
Absolutely. So this Christmas, so December 2024, we had shot a movie called Hot Frosty.
Oh my
And
God, yeah, everybody knows that
yeah,
one.
Hot Frosty ended up being number one in the world for a
Yeah,
week. And I think the streamers are going to lean in more to that kind of, market because um the Christmas movies, so Netflix did four Christmas movies, they did very well with
yeah,
their views. And they're not expensive to shoot in relation to what like a Netflix or Amazon Prime movie had done.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that with, um, uh, the Merry Gentleman and Hot Frosty and all of these Netflix movies doing so well, I think
Mhm.
that that's definitely something that they'd be really smart, low input, high views.
Yeah,
And then people are going to Netflix for their Christmas movies. So I definitely see that happening for them. If that's how I would go as well.
yeah,
So I think that, the streamers, instead of the broadcasting going more to the streamer, I don't think it's as likely, but I think the streamers looking at like they're doing that with game shows, right? Like,
right.
Netflix and that's always been traditionally like a broadcast thing. So I think the streamers are looking at, well, why do people still love these cable or television broadcasters? And I think the streamers are going to reverse engineer what they're doing.
Seeing this kind of like lower budget, higher output, higher views, does that make sense to then make TV series out of some of these stories? So that you have more view time and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could. With Hallmark, you can see now they're doing more series. And I
Okay,
think and more these like soapy series like based on books.
right.
Like Netflix has Virgin River,
Hmm.
which has done really, really well. But
Oh yeah,
it's like it's this group of characters. There's not like there's not action stunts, there's not fight stunts, there's no violence, there's whatever. It's just like interesting characters in a
right.
beautiful location. And then we've seen that with like Sullivan's Crossing and there's one on the Hallmark Channel now. Um, so yeah, I think that, people, what I've learned, so going from just service production into
Yeah,
development and pitching, is that people love story. That's what drives them. I tell the story of like I go into these big national broadcasters and just bomb my pitching because I'm coming at it from, oh, I've produced 50 movies, so like I can do it for this amount of time, I can do it for this schedule, like I can, all these logistics. And they're like, no, Caitlin, no. What's your story? And I wasn't able to art. Two of them were like ideas that I was co-collaborating on. One was a book that I had optioned.
Hmm.
And in all three things, I wasn't able to articulate what the story was, who the characters were, and what world they lived in.
Yeah.
And they never, and one of the executives at a major national broadcaster said, we don't care about your budget. That is very secondary. What we need to know is, do you have a good story that you can articulate well so that people will care about your characters?
Yeah.
I think when we see these like soapy, like family driven dramas or town driven dramas, like it's a story that people like that's told well.
Hmm.
And we can do that, for reasonable amount of money and still
Yeah.
get the viewers because the story, we don't need the stunts, we don't need the special effects, we don't need, jumping out of airplanes to get these viewers in.
Right. Yeah. You need characters that you relate to, that you could see yourself being on screen, and Mission Impossible is it. It's going to be the people who are dealing with every day. It's going to the coffee shop. Now, studios asking for more character-driven stories or bigger stories instead of your budget tightness. Is that something that's newer in Hollywood, or I mean, in the industry?
No, I think that it's newer for the cable. Some of the cable channels had just
Yeah.
like the MOW, but now they're piecing them out into series. I think that's a bit newer.
Okay.
But I mean, like, like those, the Breakfast Club, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like a small group, one location, a small group of characters, but like we're this 4 hours and we care about them.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think that the concept is just being like taken more out into
I like
story.
the
But
idea of pulling from John Hughes. Like that's a really good.
yeah,
Yeah. All his characters, they stay with you forever.
they
That's
stay
really
with you forever. Yeah.
yeah. Is there any character that you have, seen, that you've created, that it's been through your process, that you'd like to develop even farther, that you think the audience didn't get enough time with? There's so many characters. You have a very thick IMDb.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, no, but I would say that there are projects that got really far
Yeah,
but didn't quite go. I think that there's a few that I'm just like, can't believe that, like, I
yeah.
can't believe that didn't go. Definitely those. Um, but no, like these movies that I've done. I mean, there's actors that I wish we could have worked with 100 times more because
Oh,
they're
I bet.
just fabulous. Like, um, one of my favorites to watch was Walton Goggins.
Oh my God. Everything he does. Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of his scenes, uh, he was by himself in them. And it was like a master class because you don't realize how much you rely on reactions from other people. So
Hmm.
he's just like doing surveillance or he's on a one-sided conversation. Like we don't hear the other person, whatever. And it was extremely exciting to watch.
That's exciting. That's exciting to be able to be in that room to see somebody who's like, because I mean, I think
Mhm.
right now he's getting his roses, but there's been a while there where he was in a lot of things, but people didn't recognize his talent. And then in the last few months, he's been in like three things at one time that everybody's been watching.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those, people that like but you look at the characters that he played and they've been so interesting and so varied. That is not a man who
Yeah.
has been typecast, you
Yeah.
know? So I think like, he's really benefited from, you know, kind of not being a number one household name because he's got this incredible just work body of work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a great point that he hasn't been typecast, because it seems like at first glance you'd be able to like, oh yeah, Justified. He's a Justified type character. But then you see him in like Righteous Gemstones and White Lotus and everything else across the board, and voice acting in
Sons of
Invincible.
Anarchy.
Sons of
Sons of
Anarchy. And what a challenging role that must have been for him to play a woman character and to thrive in it. And I mean, God, he's an amazing actor. I'm happy they had a chance to work with him. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are constantly working, and now you're sharing your talents with the online mentoring and training academy. How has that process been, and what have you learned from trying to start your own academy like this?
What I've learned is that mentorship will condense your on the ground learning by
Hmm.
years.
Yeah.
Um, what I've learned is that I still need mentorship. So I spent 4 hours today with somebody going over how to make a TikTok, how to make an Instagram, because I know how to teach you to be a kick-ass producer. I took Adriana on in January.
Yeah.
January 2025, April 2025, she's producing her first $1 million movie.
Oh
I
my
know how to
God.
do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be natural on TikTok. So I'm getting mentored. So, I have a mentorship academy. I will never stop being mentored.
Hmm.
What I know is that we have other mentors there. We've made a lot of mistakes. You get to benefit from them.
Yeah.
Like I talked about with the pitch session, we're going to teach you how to not have a national broadcaster tell you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're gonna have that. So, and also like there's um there's some very important things you have to know, even if you want to be a short filmmaker. Like
Yeah.
if you go make a short film, do you know how to sell that? And do you know that there's a set amount of things and documents that you need to be able to sell it? So
Mm.
we'll teach you, you want to be a short filmmaker, you send it to festivals, we'll have you prepared to sell because you might get an offer at a festival. But
Yeah.
if you don't know that you need this clearance report, you don't know that you need, all of these documents to make sure that you can sell. So even anybody that wants to be just an independent filmmaker needs to know. With the way that the industry is now, everybody needs to be a producer.
Yeah. And a marketer, it feels like too. Like feels like you were saying with TikTok, and like we joke around here, like the more effort you put into a TikTok, the worse it's gonna do for some reason. It just doesn't click for people.
Yeah.
They want that just naturalness, and that's hard to do sometimes. But that, yeah, how do you teach that? How do you teach somebody that, like, not only do you want to make the movie, but then you're gonna be marketing, you're gonna be talking to the camera a lot more in front of the camera than you probably ever thought you were gonna be. You know?
Yeah, like do you know that like you make a movie with your friends, you still need contracts.
Yeah.
Do you know what those contracts need to say for you to be able to sell it, Like yeah. Um so yeah, so the 30 videos are free. You'll walk
That's
away knowing
amazing.
exactly what a producer would need to know at all those stages of production that I said. And like I said, we have like a platform where it's live weekly mentorship every week. We
That's
teach from
incredible.
experience. Everybody that's mentors there is like um full time in the industry.
Yeah. Uh, what is probably, you're getting a lot of feedback from this incredible academy. What is probably the one piece that everybody's most surprised about? They're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. What's coming back to you?
Um, well, I think the thing that they're like just like genuinely most surprised at is
Hmm.
that directors don't have final cut of films. That's just something that blows people's
Oh,
mind.
yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Um, but I think it's like around the business of filmmaking because
Hmm.
people feel like if you're a director, you're disconnected from, or you're a DP or you're a production designer or whatever, they feel like you're disconnected from that business side of it,
Yeah.
but you're not. Because if learn like what a producer's brain is thinking, we'll teach you how to negotiate with directors, but we'll teach the directors how to negotiate with producers. And like, where can you push back? Like, what's that middle line?
Hmm.
Um, and how we teach people how like you're not going to make a movie without money
Yeah.
and you're not going to spend the money without these filmmakers. So we teach like everybody like how to coexist and like how to make sure that you're dealing in good faith from both sides so that you have respect for the budget because if you come in over budget, you're not going to get another movie, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to respect the filmmakers and their processes and we teach you how to um negotiate so that everybody, you know, leaves as happy as they can be.
Yeah.
We teach you how to communicate. You're dealing with creatives. Um, you're dealing with extremely passionate people. And then when you're a producer, you might have 100 people working on that movie. And there's specific ways where that you communicate with specific people. So like we're multi-layered. We teach
Oh
you
yeah.
everything.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're dealing with passionate people. Everybody wants to put their stamp on the project. 100 people on there. Plus, you have the business front of things that you have to worry about too. So I can imagine that's a fascinating class. I can't wait to check that out. That's amazing. That's incredible. Well, Caitlin, I think we've got everybody all interested in a buzz.
Awesome.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow the links in the description and follow up on Caitlin Delaney. I'll have all the social medias in there as well. Caitlin, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Of
It was
course.
so nice to talk to you.
It was great meeting you. All right, everybody, again, follow those links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one.